Okay, guys, today we're going to go over anchor meals, which are going to be super important for your journey, being able to manage your nutrition whilst you're away traveling, whilst you're here, there, and everywhere, and whilst you're often in difficult situations where previously you wouldn't have had a clue how to manage your nutrition. You would have often made poor decisions. You would have had fuck it moments. You will have had or found it very, very difficult and stressful. Okay, so what we are going to go over. First of all, what even are they? Anchor meals are your go-to meals to repeat consistently. Yeah, they are used in situations where you have less control and where you're more likely to go off track. Okay, because these are the moments where over the last years where you've struggled with your weight, where you've struggled to get in shape, these are the moments which will often throw you off and negate any progress or control we've had when we've been at home and not traveling. Okay, so think those moments in airports, hotels, service stations, on the road, eating out. We want to remove the guesswork when things feel difficult and when things feel chaotic. That is the goal of introducing anchor meals. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to remove the decision making. The less number of decisions, the fewer decisions we have to actually make in any given day, in any given moment, the lower the opportunity or the risk of making a poor decision. So it reduces our chances of overeating, having poor food choices, especially in moments where we're tired, we're stressed, we're traveling, okay? And, where we often struggle to stay on track. And the goal is, therefore, less thinking, and the decisions we do make are easier to make and are better. All right? Why anchor meals work? It requires essentially zero thought, like minimal thought, because we're just doing something we've done before. We've done over and over again. Something we enjoy, something we already have the information for, and it keeps things really, really simple. And it helps you stay on track when life or moments feel out of control. And it builds, it's built around foods that you enjoy, right? That is going to be a big part of these anchor meals we're putting together. We have to make sure you enjoy it. You're not eating a salad. You're not eating something that isn't going to fill you up, isn't going to keep you satisfied, and isn't going to support the training and activity you're doing. And what the goal is we want to be consistent over trying to be perfect in these situations. Yeah. And even if the calories aren't perfect, even if they're not exact, by being consistent with the choices we make, the meals we have, these anchor meals, the results will still come. And once you've logged it once, it's there forever. It's easy. And we can go back to it over and over again, knowing that we are consuming the same amount. Even if our estimate is slightly out, we're doing the same thing. And providing we're consistent, we can manipulate the things we can control. So, we're building that repeatable system, not just relying on willpower. Relying on willpower too much is where we've gone wrong, is where I went wrong for a long time. It's probably where you've gone wrong, because we haven't had a system that actually makes sense and helps us not have to rely on that willpower. A lot of people go wrong in situations like hotel buffets, where you have control, okay? You have the ability to test the boundaries, shall we say, walk on that fine line, because it's easy to overdo portions. So in situations like this, where you're the one controlling the portion size, we do have to stay disciplined with our portion size, with our servings control, and we can use guidelines like things as simple as the size of your hand, the size of your fist. A big one that I always used to do when I went in and out of hotels and I was staying away a lot, quite often these places have the same size bowls. They have the same size plates, these kind of things. A piece of cutlery. Like, we can use these apparatus, whatever you would call them, can't think of the word now, but you can use them as an estimate for portion sizes. Spoons and serving sizes is a big one as well. You can have a teaspoon, a tablespoon, a big serving spoon of whatever it is. And generally, those are going to be consistent wherever you are. And remember, as I just said on the last slide, we're not trying to be perfect, because our travel absolutely isn't. The situations we're in doesn't support being perfect. So, I mean, the alternative is just losing control completely. And that's probably what you've already been doing. And how well have we done? How much progress have we made from that? Next to none, right? And we're here because we want to make serious progress. And so that is where these come in. So pro tip, in terms of being able to stay consistent with our portion sizes, is take a photo the first time you build it. Maybe have a little folder in your phone with photos of your anchor meals. You may never need to look at it again, but it might just be a good guideline in the future if you're not sure whether portion sizes have started to slightly go over. Then we can refer back to that, right? Then, yeah, you can always compare the portions. You can stay consistent visually and make sure that the estimate we are logging, the estimate we are kind of going with when it comes to this meal we're not starting to take the piss, and we're remaining consistent, all right? So building the anchor meals for each situation, we will, with our work travel, have a number of environments that we find ourselves in regularly, whether that is a hotel breakfast buffet, whether that is an airport lounge, whether that is just an airport terminal, service stations when we're on the road, like whatever it is, we need to have one, maybe a couple, always I'd recommend having a couple, of anchor meals for each situation. Okay, even in flight, anchor meals. For example, if you're a pilot, maybe cabin crew, or you just fly it regularly, having anchor meals of the in-flight food, where it's going to be relatively consistent in terms of what meals that they do on the flight. So actually, if we're having them fairly regularly, we don't necessarily need to get them exact, because I'm pretty sure on flights, legally they don't have to put the calories and things on meals, right? So we're a bit stumped. But if we can get a fairly decent estimate and we stick with that, then we're going to be making progress. We're going to be in the money, all right? And then with these anchor meals you create for these different situations, maybe it might be a meal that you regularly enjoy to have in restaurants. It might be steak and potatoes with some veg and some sauce. Like whatever that is, we then need to save them in wherever we are tracking our food. So that may be MyFitnessPal. It may be an Everfit, a coaching app I use within the program. If you're watching this, then likelihood is you may be using that, or wherever you save your meals and record your meals. Because remember, the most accurate way to make sure we lose weight is by controlling our calories, and the best way to do that is by tracking our food, all right? With our situation, with travel, with regular travel, it is very difficult to do that all the time. Nigh on impossible, okay? But we want to get as close to tracking everything as accurately as we can, as possible, to make the most amount of progress possible. That is the best way to elicit guaranteed fat loss. And so we want to get as close to that as we possibly can, okay? It also allows you to remain disciplined. It allows you, it's an accountability tool, and it just works, okay? It's worked for me, it's worked for lots and lots of guys inside the program. As an example, when I was working in Cyprus and I was in and out of hotels, often eating in breakfast buffets for work, I had two go-to breakfasts. One was 3 boiled eggs, 2 slices of deli ham from the salad bar, 1 slice of whole grain toast, and the same size bowl of watermelon every single day, okay? Or it was oats with 3 of the serving spoons that was in the oats kind of bowl, 1 teaspoon of chia seeds, a scoop of the protein powder that I'd brought with me whilst I was away, hot water from the coffee machine to put a bit in the oats, let them absorb, and then 1 serving spoon of light Greek yogurt, and half a banana. Okay, simple as that. And I just repeated that every single day. And I made sure that I logged the same number every single day. It's as simple as that. Another example from my experience. My airport go-to was always a Subway chicken tikka salad. I'd ask for as much salad as they would give me, with light mayo and a small amount of the Southwest sauce. Another one, when I was working and living around France, and we would often go for days at a time to Geneva airport, working in and out of that, lots of travel there and back, could be like 6-7 hours on busy days, and then spend kind of most of the day at the airport. There was always a ham mozzarella tomato toasty that I would always go for, and again, I logged it exactly the same every time. Could there have been more filling foods, more higher protein foods that I could have gone for? Yeah, but I really enjoyed that toasty, and it helped me stick to my calories. It helped me stay in control. Or there was this pre-packaged Caesar salad that I had, and I remained consistent. And those were my go-tos at the airport on those days where I was working there. And an advanced tip for if you fly often, right? As I mentioned earlier, if you are flying often, the meals you get on certain airlines often are on rotation or often very similar. And so just because the in-flight food might not be perfect, or we might want to avoid it, like if we're on a plane for a significant period of time, we're going to have something, okay? And if we can have a few regular in-flight meals that we can have as anchor meals, we know, and we can log it the same every time, then it's going to be really, really helpful, right? And it just, that big period of time, that big section of your work travel of your day that can often result in bad decisions and going off track is eliminated, and we can remain as consistent as we can. And we just repeat this. We just repeat these anchor meals at every opportunity. We're not always going to be able to, right? But this is where the tool of using anchor meals is super powerful. And the final thing I would mention on this, right, is all you have to do is create this meal. Even if you're just simply adding an amount of calories into your tracking app, naming it whatever you want to name it, yeah? We then just reuse it time after time. And it is so simple to just copy and paste it in, with whatever app you're using, but likely MyFitnessPal, EverFit within the program. It's super easy to be consistent, and even if the calories aren't perfect, as long as we're consistent with it and we're using the same every time, that's what's going to drive the fat loss. Okay? So if you're unsure on how to log a meal, message me. We can put your anchor meals together, together. We can create them together, and we can make sure you have some good solid anchor meals in there to use throughout your journey to make sure we stay on track and stay consistent. All right. And once you've got this dialed in, once you've got the feel for it, you've created some to cover different situations you find yourself in regularly, then we can rinse and repeat for as long as you need it. Okay? It just takes the guessing out of the game, and that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to keep things as simple as possible, remove the option to make a poor decision as often and as much as we can. All right? Hope that was helpful. Any questions, let me know, send me a message, and over time we will build consistency with this. We will put more and more together, and we will build a bank of them in your app. All right? But I'm excited to get going, hopefully use this a lot, and it really be a game changer for you in your progress.